Before Babylon conquered cities, it conquered human nature. Long before its armies marched, before its walls intimidated the world, before its kings carved victory into stone, Babylon learned something far more powerful than military strategy: how to control desire. While other empires raised armies, Babylon raised emotions. While others built weapons, Babylon built experiences. While others ruled through force, Babylon ruled through longing. Tonight, inside the House of Babylon, we enter the empire behind the empire, the marketplace of desire that shaped minds more deeply than any law ever could. People often imagine ancient civilizations as strict, cold, disciplined, obsessed with work and survival. But Babylon was different. Babylon understood something that even the modern world struggles to admit. Humans are motivated less by duty than by desire. What people want controls them far more effectively than what they fear. And so Babylon did something extraordinary. It transformed pleasure into a system, a currency, a psychological technology, a tool of influence. The pleasure economy was not about indulgence, it was about strategy. Desire was not random, it was engineered. Babylon crafted experiences, rituals, festivals, markets, scents, colors, music, and stories designed to activate the deepest impulses of the human mind. And the more people desired, the easier they were to guide. The story begins in the markets. Babylon's marketplaces were unlike anything the ancient world had seen. They were not simply places to buy and sell, they were theaters. Rows of vibrant fabrics, jars of imported oils, baskets of dates and spices were arranged like a performance. Merchants used voice, rhythm, and charm. Scented smoke drifted between the stalls, guiding visitors like invisible hands. A person entering the market did not leave unchanged. They left wanting more. Desire became a soft chain silk instead of iron. Babylon didn't need to force people to participate in its system. People willingly entered it because it satisfied their senses. The empire discovered a truth the world still lives by. Control does not always come from restrictions. Sometimes it comes from giving people exactly what they want, until they cannot imagine life without it. But the pleasure economy went deeper than markets. It reached into time itself. Babylon invented festivals not simply to celebrate, but to entertain the soul. These gatherings were designed to wear down emotional resistance through music, movement, storytelling, spectacle. A tired mind is cautious. A satisfied mind is compliant. A fascinated mind is faithful. Babylon learned to shape emotions through experience, creating a population that felt loyal, not from fear, but from pleasure. The rulers understood something vital. When people associate happiness with a system, they protect that system. They defend it. They do not question it. The pleasure economy became a psychological shield. It softened tension, quieted discontent, and disguised inequality beneath waves of enjoyment. But desire has a second-edged dependency. Babylon began to notice something subtle. As people grew accustomed to the stimulation of the pleasure economy, their tolerance increased. Ordinary days felt empty. The appetite for novelty grew. The need for constant stimulation became a quiet addiction. And an addicted population is the easiest population to control. This is where Babylon's genius and danger revealed itself. Instead of suppressing desire, the empire used desire to guide behavior. People paid more, worked harder, traded faster, and sacrificed willingly, not because they were forced, but because they wanted access to the pleasures the empire provided. Pleasure replaced pressure. Desire replaced discipline. Babylon discovered that when pleasure becomes a need, control becomes invisible. But the pleasure economy also shaped the rulers. Kings, priests, and elites were not immune. They became dependent on the admiration that flowed from festivals, the loyalty that came from spectacle, the emotional warmth that came from giving the people what they craved. The pleasure economy became a mirror. As citizens depended on stimulation, rulers depended on adoration. Both sides were trapped, one by desire, the other by the desire to be desired. Slowly, pleasure replaced purpose. Meaning became decoration. Rituals became entertainment. Laws became negotiable. People sought stimulation instead of depth, distraction instead of discipline. And that is when the foundation of Babylon began to weaken. For no society can stand when its people feel more drawn to pleasure than to responsibility. No empire can survive if its citizens prioritize comfort over sacrifice. And no civilization can endure when the pursuit of delight outweighs the pursuit of meaning. The most dangerous part of the pleasure economy was not the pleasure itself, was the illusion that everything was fine. Pleasure hides cracks, it masks problems. It replaces discomfort with distraction. And by the time Babylon realized how deeply desire had reshaped its identity, the change was irreversible. But why does this ancient story feel so familiar? Because the world today is built on desire. Because modern life is an upgraded version of Babylon's pleasure economy. Because markets still shape identity. Because entertainment still shapes emotion. Because stimulation still shapes loyalty. Because addiction still shapes behavior. Babylon teaches us something important and uncomfortable. Pleasure is powerful. Pleasure is useful. Pleasure is deadly. Not because it corrupts, but because it controls. And the most effective control is the kind we never notice. If this episode opened your eyes to the hidden mechanics of human desire, subscribe now to House of Babylon. Every week, we peel back another layer of the ancient world, another truth about empires, psychology, and the human heart. Your journey continues. The next shadow awaits.